Hotep, Black Power, giving honor to the Creator, giving honor to the ancestors, as always, giving honor to my sister, Chief of Staff Brother Harris Abdul, the street law soldiers, my father, my in-laws, and all of our ancestors, and all of your ancestors that are in the ancestral realm as we speak, and for all the brothers and sisters fighting for the liberation and salvation of our black nation. Now, today, I'm gonna be talking to you all, and I'm going in on these mugs, these preachers, you know. Now, first of all, this nigga, Jamal Bryan, he back in the motherfucking paper again, you know, back in court again for beating the shit out of a woman, you know, up in New York. And she had a restraining order on this faggot. Now, the thing about Jamal Bryan is this, you know, people sit up there and, you know, y'all parade him and say he's this and he's that. You know, he's supposed to be this man of God and all this shit. You know, but yet he just a good orator. He's a good talking motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You know, he come out of Morehouse, you know, and that says a lot because you got a lot of people that come out of Morehouse, just, you know, Spike Lee, Omari Hardwick, you know, and several others that came out of that gay institution where the president of Morehouse had to pass a law that men couldn't wear heels on campus. You know, but Jamal Bryan, who was ran out of the projects by this guy PFK Boone, who then turned around and apologized to him, you know, but nevertheless, you know, Jamal Bryan, who you know, has passed STDs to women, sleeps with, you know, any woman that he can, you know, has children scattered all over the country, you know, behind on child support, whoops, you know, whoops on women, you know, because he grew up in a sheltered environment. And I'll tell you a little bit. This punk grew up in a sheltered environment with, you know, his mother and father. You know, his father was a pastor. You know, so he doesn't have any street creds and he doesn't have any experience of being out there. He may talk that shit, but he hasn't. You know, only thing he's done is laid up under a woman's tit or ass and ran up under his father, who spoiled him. You know, and you know, and he's still in court for not paying LaToya Odom, you know, child support for one of his sons that's out there. You know, and I'm going on a lot of these preachers today. You know, Jake TD Jakes, Creflo, fucking Leroy Thompson, Benny Hinn, Joyce Meyer, Fred Price, Joel Osteen, Noah Jones, all of these motherfuckers, and even Juanita Bynum, you know, who is living a motherfucking troubled life because, you know, she was jumping around in previous years, jumping up and down and, you know, screaming on people in her sermons and all this shit, you know what I'm saying? And then when she started messing with the brother, what's that pastor, that half-gay motherfucker, Weeks, Bishop Weeks, you know, she claimed he was beating her ass, but yet he's moved on and got married, and you haven't heard nothing bad from his wife or Bishop Weeks. You know, so that says a lot about Juanita Bynum. You know, how she went hard in previous years on homosexuality and all this, but yet, you know, she broke real and talked about, you know, the ton of crack she smoked and the women she laid with and all the pussy she ate, you know. And you know, like I said, the only one gets a pass today with me is Fred Price Jr. You know, he went to the pulpit and he made an announcement that he's stepping down for a year. He's going to sit down like a regular parishioner and humble himself, because he said he had some type of issues that he's dealing with that he didn't disclose. And, you know, with his wife standing beside him, you know, and his family supporting him, you know, and he was sincere. He broke down and he was man enough to say, you know, I'm struggling with something right now, and I'm stepping down so I can humble myself and come back even stronger. And he got the support that he needed. You know, the people were yelling, you know, the women were yelling, yeah, we trust you, we love you, and things of that nature. You know, the only problem I got with that is, you know, you sisters will, you know, stand behind these pastors when they step forward and admit their shortcomings and wrongdoings. But when your own husbands and significant others do that, you know, you don't give them no air. They don't have nothing coming. You know, so you know, you need to have that same compassion and level of forgiveness for your spouse or your significant other as you would, you know, these pastors, because a lot of them are very, very nasty, you know, and a lot of them are caught up in a lot of shit, you know. It's so much, you know, shit that, you know, they're going through. This 38-year-old ministry president, he was arrested in Tallahassee, Florida, for doing his sermon. He forced a 18-year-old boy in the bathroom, you know, and gave him a fucking blowjob, you know, by force. You know, and a lot of y'all are hypnotized by these pastors and these bishops and ministers, because they use their cult dynamics, you know, and at the same time, you know, they're spiritually, you know, paralyzing you all. You know, I was deep into the church at one time, you know, but a lot of things just didn't add up to me. But let me go on before I get back. In Toledo, Ohio, two pastors and a so-called prophet, Pastor Cordell Jenkins, Pastor Anthony Hayes, and Prophet Kenneth Butler, arrested for sexually assaulting pre- and teenage girls for the last 4 years in sex trafficking. They were having sex with these 12, 13, and 14-year-old girls and buying them iPhones to keep them shut after they sodomized and raped these little children. You know, and Lord Jenkins, Cordell Jenkins' wife, she was indicted for the sex trafficking. She was in on it as well. You know. And, you know, Juanita Bynum, you know, she went to jail for, you know, failing to pay that $140,000 to AOL. You know, she's had bad marriage. She said she's, you know, and all the stuff about sleeping with women and things of that nature, because she's another one that's a hustler. You know, she hustles too. You know, and this is what I'm saying. If you are caught up, for example, if you can't talk about and preach and get on a pulpit and talk about family, the family settings, if your family is not correct, how can you preach and tell your parishioners, you know, how to straighten your family out, and your family is fucked up. And we see that a lot. We see that a lot. And you can tell a lot about a pastor according to his family. Is his wife, how she seated, how she dressed, where the children and grandchildren, where are they seated at? Are they paying attention? What roles do they play in the church? You know, are they truly supportive of their father? And see, if you don't have that established, you cannot preach to parishioners about no family structure. You know, if your finance and your economic situation and your marriage is not in order, you cannot get on a pulpit and preach about relationships if your relationships are all fucked up. If you have a terrible sex addiction, you cannot get on the pulpit and preach to parishioners about dick control and pussy control. You cannot do that because you're out of control. And see, a lot of these pulpit pimps need to step down, humble themselves and step down and recommit themselves if they're going to be a sincere follower of God. The same way with Eddie Long, Bishop Eddie Long. You know, he was in denial. He never admitted and never asked for forgiveness for messing with those boys. Lied all the way to the end. Even about his illness. Lying, saying he was a vegan. You know, things of that nature. And then he had got support from, you know, vultures like Juanita Bynum and others. You know, T.D. Jakes, who has a son that likes to run through parks naked, high off PCP. See, they're not talking about that. Because you don't see the family dynamics. Because they rarely talk about them. You know, all they talk about is, you know, how much money, you know, how important tithing is. You know, and make you feel like you're worth something. Jumping up and down, laying hands on you. And at the same time, one hand on your head and one in your purse. You know, and that's called, you know, spiritual bipolarism that these pulpit pimps are dealing with, and pimpesses, you know, and it's so much more. It's so much more that you know, these pastors and these pimps need to come to grips with. You know, and that's my thing. If you fucked up, you know, step down. You get more respect, and you more of a man. And at the end of the day, you have your dignity. If you're man enough to say, look, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that. You know, I'm going to step down and go ahead and humble myself, you know, until things become in order. You know, because what God are you serving that co-signs all of this bullshit? You know, Benny Hinn with these gold toilets and Joyce Myers, you know, Joel Osteen, you know, these crackers sit and lie. All they talk about is prosperity. Creflo Dollar the same way. Family structure fucked up. He ended up, you know, slapping the shit out of his daughters because they broke a curfew. You know, he never talks about his daughters. You never see them, you know, with front row seats in his mega church. So we need to, you know, we have to be clear on these things. You know, and Jamal Bryan, once again, you know, he loves being in the spotlight and being under the gun. You know, because he's a good orator. He's a good talking motherfucker. You know, he can sell ice to an Eskimo. But his, you know, children scattered everywhere. You know, keeping STDs, you know, like a debit card. You know, beating up queens. That's a clear indication of being a coward anyway. Cause why didn't you hit PFK Boom down in Gilmore Projects in Baltimore? Why didn't you hit him like you hit that sister in New York? Cause PFK Boom literally whored you, punked your ass out there. You know, and then you go make a sermon, you know, and say what you would have done. He don't know you and all this shit. But then he apologized. You know. So, you know, it's just a whole bunch of bullshit. You know, that you know, Christianity has succumbed to. You know, where homosexuality is the order of the day. You know, the brother from Baltimore who OD'd in a hotel, you know, in Florida. You know, it was two brothers that OD'd, two pastors that OD'd off heroin and cocaine that were found in hotels. One from Baltimore and one from Florida. I don't know their names offhand. But this shit, man, this shit is just outrageous. Now, what I want to talk about is this this fucking these Baltimore police that all of them had BB guns and they're riding around with BB guns to plant on suspects or victims in the event that they may have to fatally shoot any of those brothers out there on the street. That they'll have the BB gun to use as a defense that person pulled out. It appeared to be a weapon. You know, and they were jammed up. They were caught. Also, they were robbing drug dealers and they were robbing innocent people in Baltimore, taking money, drugs, and then taking the drugs and putting them back on the street for redistribution. Planning false charges, false felonies on brothers and sisters in the streets of Baltimore, sending them to prison with these lengthy prison sentences for nothing. You know, you have a lot of fucked up corruption in the Baltimore City Police Department. They're neck and neck in corruption with LAPD, NYPD, Chicago PD. You know, and these 7, so far they got 7, but they said they're going to make more arrests with this, you know, riding around with these BB guns, planting them on suspects, you know, in the event that they want to or feel like shooting and killing these brothers. So something has to be done about this because it appears that Baltimore doesn't have a mayor. That sister is just completely, you know, completely fucked up. She's more focused on getting the homeless people off the street because it makes she doesn't want to make Baltimore look bad, you know. But at the same time, she's displacing homeless people. Because these shelters that they have in these inner cities are not, you know, a lot of people, a lot of our homeless brothers and sisters refuse to go in these spots. They're full of bed bugs. You know, they have squirrel and cat-sized rodents running through these shelters. The showers are deplorable. You know, water up to your ankles filled with semen, pubic hair, snot, and all this shit where, you know, these people who 90% of them have mental health issues, severe mental health issues, you know, blow their nose in the shower. You know, it's a lot of stealing. It's a lot of gang raping in there. You know, where a lot of mentally challenged, bipolar men and women are taken cold-blooded advantage of. And so they choose to get tents and sleep under the freeways. And not just in Baltimore, in all of the inner cities. So if you want to combat homelessness, you know, spend $50 million and build a state-of-the-art shelter with round-the-clock therapists and mental health counselors. You know, with doctors, 24-hour physicians, you know, on site. You know, to help these brothers and sisters that have become so mentally warped from being outside. And a lot of people don't know, you know, sleeping outside can do something to your brain. I know. I've had experiences, even in the military, you know, but on the streets, too, of Washington, D.C. And it can do something to you mentally. You know, so, you know, if you want to really do something, you know, besides wanting to make yourself look good, and at the same time, your police force is just running a fucking muck in the streets of Baltimore. You know, all these trumped up charges on these young brothers, you know, that's out on the streets, that's hustling. And then Trump makes this statement about arresting and giving our brothers and sisters stiffer penalties for drug possession and drug distribution, based on the fact that the opium and heroin epidemic is destroying white suburbia America. And he knows that there are very few white drug dealers. They know the majority of drug dealers are black, and that's based on economic status. That's based on the high level of unemployment. That's based on the 3 strikes convicted felon situation, where employment is nearly impossible to find. Of course, you're going to have those, you know, certain situations where a brother may, you know, end up being blessed and land a job in the government or something like that. You know, a lot of times that's done for a few to try to give the false impression that it's available for everyone, but it's not. They just choose a couple and keep the others hungry, because they depend on the poor. The rich depend on the poor remaining poor so they can remain rich. So, you know, let's be honest, and let's be clear about this shit, you know, and stop going against each other. You know, defending this motherfucking cracker. You know, especially you brothers and sisters that's always saying, you know, I've had black people to do this. It was a black person that shot me. It was a black person that robbed me and all this type of shit. Of course it was. But if you had whites in the same position as blacks, the same shit would have happened. So don't use that as an excuse to be an integrationalist. You know, if you love the motherfucking cracker, just say it. You know, don't try to convince others that they're wrong for not wanting to fuck with these motherfucking devils. Cause the white man is the devil. Only a devil would do the shit that's being done to us. And I meant to say, you know, Officer Maurice Ward of the Baltimore City Police Department is the one that blew the whistle. He's the one that snitched on the rest of the dirty ass cops up there in Baltimore. You know, so that's how it goes. You always get one weak motherfucker out the bunch. You know, and you know, an ex-sailor, he stabs a transgender woman, DeWanna Hankerson, stabbed D. Wiggum in Jackson, Mississippi. Now, they have footage of both of them going into the hotel room holding hands. And then he comes out, Hankerson comes out, and he has a shirt wrapped around his on his shoulders, but it appeared that he had took a shower prior to coming out of the room, and he stabbed this transgender D. Wiggum 119 times in the face. Now, Hankerson's excuse was he didn't know that that was a transgender. You know, and I get sick of you motherfuckers doing that. Coming up with that lame ass excuse. You know. You ain't know. Now you sat there and held hands. You've been on social media conversing, sending each other love letters through Facebook and all this shit for months. Then when you finally hook up, you know, physically, y'all get engaged in sex. And then you end up stabbing this transgender 119 times in the face, stating that you didn't know that that was a transgender. Come on. You could use something else. Use something else besides that. He's talking about he just lost it and all this shit. Nah, what happened was, you know, you had everything planned. And when that motherfucking, that meat stick went in your motherfucking butt, you know, you had a whole different motherfucking outlook on shit, and you end up stabbing the motherfucking transgender, you know, to try to make yourself look good, and also, you know, to keep motherfuckers off of you in the penitentiary. So, you know, motherfuckers, you know, niggas will think that, oh, you know, he ain't know that was a motherfucking transgender, so he killed her. Nah, you gonna have problems when you go in the pen. You know. So you might as well go ahead and suit up now in your little skirt outfit. You know, and your motherfucking halter top, cause that's what's going to happen. Your future's going to consist of a life like that in the penitentiary. Cause those sodomites are coming after that ass. You better bet that. You know. And, you know, the small percentage that are in prisons, cause it's like 8%, you know, that engage in that type of weak ass fag shit, you know, but they coming for you. You can bet that. You know, you can explain to them, far as that lie you told the police and the courts. You know, but in closing for this segment, you know. This pulpit pimp shit, you know, and then you got these pastors that's saying that they, you know, like Donnie McClurkin, you know, he's supposed to be a ex-gump and all this type of shit, you know. Now he's supposed to marry, I forgot the woman he's gonna marry, but I hope he doesn't fuck her up and backslide on that dick, because I don't believe it. I don't believe that. You know, he's fully transformed again once into an alpha male, you know, or strong heterosexual. I don't believe it. You know, I just think that's part of you know, publicity. I think that's part of Donnie McClurkin trying to win, you know, his entire following back and all his fans, you know, and so he can sell records. And I just don't believe it. I believe Donnie McClurkin, you know, is going to be creeping out, you know, still be, you know, telling his wife he going to get some ice cream, and he be going dick hunting, you know. So, but you know, you pulpit, you know, like the man say, pimp buzzards. You know, you're nasty. You all have vicious sex habits. You all have vicious drug habits. You all are woman beaters. You all are adulterers. You all steal. You lie. You cheat. You know, your family structure and the family dynamic and your home is in fucking shambles. You need to get therapy. Need psychiatric help, because that type of living has led to you being having bipolar tendencies by hiding all these lies, by being in the closet about a lot of things. Doesn't necessarily have to be about you being gay and being in the closet. You could be in the closet about a lot of things, stealing money, which all of you do. Because especially you all that say that God told you to do this and do that. That's bullshit. That is straight bullshit. God didn't tell you nothing. Because you're not sincere. Why would God talk to you, personally talk to you, the creator of all things, all the billions of people on the planet? The creator will personally talk to you when you live in foul, with some good news for you, and you live in foul. That doesn't make sense. But anyway, you know, I'll be back with y'all with some more knowledge, news, and information. As y'all know, I keep it real. I don't try to be nobody else but myself. You know, the way I bring it is the way I bring it. The way I speak is the way I speak. You know, if you don't like it, you know, there's plenty other YouTube channels you can plug into. If you want to hear a whole bunch of bullshit, you know, that's on you. But until again, Hotep, Black Power.